All right, recording has started. All right.
Here we go again.
Let's try this again, Marcus. Looks familiar to me.
What's that?
You and me talking. And ladies and gentlemen, we're back talking about James Bond.
Count
I'm
about a
Andy
bit of
coming to
Bond.
you from my bunker in Nashville. My buddy Mark sitting there in his hat looking very dapper today.
This is the best I can do. It's getting dark here now, and I've got all my lights on, but I still look like I'm in shadows. Sorry.
As usual, for those that are aware, like I say every time, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. It is currently, as we record this, it is 3:25 in the afternoon. Mark, what time is it where you are?
No, it's 9:25 at night here. I'm 6 hours
We,
ahead of you.
we are a solid 6 hours apart. When we record, typically, we try to do this very early in the morning on my end. So Mark is not spending his evening doing this. He's doing it during his lunch hour time. But today I had to do some work. The rodeo is in town here in Nashville.
The rodeo.
I think I FaceTimed you or something the other day, so you could see all the cowboys are in town.
No,
Lot-
yeah.
Lots of cowboys and bulls and whatnot. But I
Nashville's
digress.
Nashville's great.
We are here discussing The Great From Russia with Love, the second in the series of the James Bond movies. Sean Connery himself, the great Sean Connery. But number, what'd you say it was, 5 or 6 in the book series?
I think it's 5. Yeah, 5 or 6.
Five.
Second movie.
But
the 5th or 6th novel. Yeah.
And the next one we're going to do is Goldfinger. Is that correct? Is that the next in line?
That's the third film. Yeah. And that's when the Bond mania really kicks off, because that's a classic movie.
Yeah, I'm going to read the book before we do it, and then you and I will have a discussion about Fort Knox.
Oh, Fort Knox, that was amazing.
But let's save that. Let's get back to our the adventures of Bond and Red Grant and Tatiana
Romanova.
So when we last left off, they were heading for the train.
The Orient Express.
Which is interesting. The Orient Express. I wondered if he endeavored to put that in there on purpose or just was coincidental. But in either way, I like it because the Agatha Christie is the famous. Christie, right? Murder on the Orient Express.
That in real life, that is the main train out of Istanbul, isn't it? The Orient
Express.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
If it is, I will look it up and drop it somewhere right in here,
straight in there,
just like we did with the 007 bus line. Now I have a scene here that is slightly uncomfortable to watch. If you know what I'm talking about, Mark.
What's that one?
Hang on one second. Where is it at? Right here. So I will share this scene.
Hey, Dr. Drew, my wife Susan here. We want to show you something.
Who's that?
And this guy all over your feed.
This here.
James, you're hurting.
Oh, right. Yeah. So Bond thinks she's betrayed him.
Is under orders, I know. What are they?
I don't know.
Wait
what
for
you
it.
mean.
Wait for it.
Yeah,
oh.
Yeah. No. I know. It's 1963. It's very of its time.
Bond was not afraid to keep his pants strong.
No.
And I know
But he's on a mission. He's ruthless. He does what he needs to do, whether it's a man or a woman. He's
I watched an interview with Sean Connery after the fact. Later, is just Barbara Walters over here in America had interviewed him about hitting women, about that scene. I didn't bring it up because I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's just
another
part of
a conversation. Yeah.
It's part of a movie. I'm not saying Connery is pro hitting women, but that scene was, I'm sure for the time,
he's a ruthless spy. He thinks she's betrayed him. That's the scene.
So I wanted to at least address that, but I don't want to hover too much on it because it was. Hey, you know what? She needed it. She would have killed Bond. So you know what? Screw you. Let's see, the very last scene I want to show. Where's it at? I'm going to look at my notes as we talk. There's some great dialogue in this scene. Let me see if I can play this. Mark, you will have to know this scene, right? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me back up slightly. Before I play the scene. So, Red Grant joins Bond as the
He gets on the. He manages to get on the train. He's pretending to be another British agent
another
called
British
Nash.
agent. There it is. So in the book, um, Bond talks to M. M says, "Do you want me to send you another agent to meet up with you?" And he, at the time, he's hesitant, but I believe in the book, I'm trying to remember correctly, he does say, "Yes, I'll meet up with an agent." And they skip some of that in the movie, but Red Grant shows up
Yeah,
posing as the agent,
yeah,
and they go to it's in the book and it's in the movie. They go to dinner together, the dinner cart,
that's right.
and when of course we find out just shortly after they come back to the
So
room,
Red Grant is pretending to be this guy Nash, the British agent. Bond's initially taken in by it.
and what he
Red,
says, and I loved this line when I because it's so classy. It's very
what,
Bond. It's very British.
red wine with fish.
That's the line.
Yeah,
He said, "I should have known."
I should have known.
The line is red wine with fish. That should have told me something.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he's got a gun pointed to him as he says this to him.
Yeah, yeah.
The the
Because no
quote of
English gentleman worth his salt would order red wine, which would
that's
which would
with
overdo
fish.
the taste of the beautiful sea bass that they were eating. You just wouldn't do it. And Bond knows these things, so he instantly knows that Red Grant is a fake because an
But
English
yeah,
spy would know
it,
these things.
it slipped by him slightly, but he was on to him.
Yeah, he
He,
caught it.
he just wasn't quite there because he's doing the math in his head. Like, this
Mm.
isn't making sense. But he said, "I should have
And
known
don't
that at
forget
that
what
time."
we've discussed about Bond books and Bond movies before. It's all sex, sadism, and snobbery. And drinking the right wine with fish. It's all about snobbery. And Fleming knew all about that.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So then it leads us to this very last scene I want to share, and this was a fun scene for me. And there's another great piece of dialogue in this scene. Let me pull this up for my friend Mark here in the viewing audience to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Not the second. Not even the third.
Not over till you crawl over and kiss my boot.
Exactly.
Yeah, kiss my foot. That's it.
What?
If you watch it, he spits those lines out. You know he means it. Bond's on his knees. He's got him. Bond's in real trouble. Red Grant's got him just where he wants him. It's a great scene. And then they have the most amazing fight in that carriage.
So they have the fight,
Yeah,
which is
big
awesome,
fight scene.
right? And we will talk about how this thing was shot with 3 cameras.
Yeah, took 3 weeks, man.
It took them a time to film it, and even the little small documentary I watched about it stated that the stuntmen were only used in a couple of shots. That most of the fight scene is Connery
It's all Connery and Robert
Shaw.
Shaw. And all these years later, I mean, this is 1963. They filmed it, and we're now 2023, so 60, 70. It's still held in high regard as a great fight scene. I mean, it's great.
It is. It's a great scene. I loved that line. Was the first bullet won't kill you, nor the second, or the third.
Not until you come over here and crawl over here and kiss my foot.
My foot.
Yeah,
I mean,
my foot.
the disdain in this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. Well, Red Grant is a psychopath. He's a murderous psychopath. He's loving it. He's got Bond just where he wants him. He's going to enjoy himself.
Yeah, he absolutely is going to enjoy himself. And then the thing that so we're nearing the end of the film at this point. The fascinating thing that I thought, and I made a note of it because he apparently has a British briefcase.
Well, because he's impersonating this other British spy, Nash, that's come to meet Bond. He's also got an MI6 issue briefcase, which has got exactly the same equipment in it as James Bond's, and Bond knows that.
And that's where Bond leads to. So when
that's how he gets out of the situation he's in. Because
so Bond offers him, he wants a cigarette. He won't let him. He goes, "What if I give
he'll pay
you
for it with the
50 gold pieces?"
sovereigns. Yeah.
And he says, "Well, if there's 50 in yours, then must there 50 in mine?" And Bond says, "I don't know. Let's take a look."
Yeah.
Knowing full well, if he doesn't turn the latches the right way,
the
boom,
briefcase will blow up.
So, of course, as we all know, if we've seen the movie, Grant opens the briefcase and kablamo.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I found interesting, and maybe you can correct me on this, is it blows up. And does it blow up, or does the tear gas explode out of it?
The tear gas canister goes off, so it sprays Red Grant's face with tear
but
gas, and
doesn't affect him because the man is a cold-blooded killer. He
yeah,
could
I
care
mean, it
less.
stuns him, knocks him back, gives Bond the chance to jump up and,
Oh,
and attack him. But yeah,
just how amazing is this?
it's
And
all the distraction Connery needs, and then they're off for that fantastic fight.
right. So then the movie goes on. It gets they of course gets off the thing. He takes Tatiana. They jump off the train at some point in time. He takes the truck, the gardener's truck or whatever, landscapers, drives it to a dock.
That's
Gets
right.
on the
Jumps in a
gets on the
speedboat.
boat. Of course,
That's his
Bond, a woman,
escape plan.
and a
Yeah.
boat. This seems to be a theme in the first two movies. The Bond escapes with the beautiful woman on a boat. Um, they're heading to Venice, which is awesome. He's got
Yeah.
4 or 5 giant 55-gallon barrels of gasoline, fuel, petro, as the British would say. And he's heading to Venice with his lady. Well, at first he pushes the guy off. He says, "It's your lucky day." He says, "Can you swim?" He says, "Yes." He says, "It's your
Oh,
lucky
yeah,
day." And he
that's
shoves the guy off the boat, which is great. But then we're not quite done. Your buddies from Spectre are making
Spectre turn up. Yeah.
one last effort to get Bond, and he unleashes holy hell with a bunch of explosive
And a
gas-filled
flare
barrels
gun.
and a flare gun. He blows it all up, and he heads off for the high seas to Venice with the beautiful Tatiana
Romanova. I love saying the word
Romanova.
Romanova.
Yeah, I always want to make it. I want to make it harsher, like Romanov, and
Yeah, get a
yours
proper
sounds
Russian
better.
accent.
So our film comes to an end with a Bond in Venice with another beautiful woman, and yeah,
Well, he thinks it's all over. He's got the Lecter. He's got the girl. He thinks it's all over. But then in comes the chambermaid.
oh yes, I forgot. So I don't. My notes ended there. I forgot about the chambermaid. Tell it, Mark. I forgot about this.
Well, the
I
chambermaid.
don't have a scene. I meant to bring one. I completely forgot about it.
Bond thinks he's achieved his mission. He's got Tatiana Romanova that are in a hotel room in Venice. He's organising to take the Lecter back to London. It's all done, and then he's due to be checking out of his room. In comes the chambermaid, and it's Colonel Rosa Klebb in disguise, and she's got a gun. And yeah, Connery's in trouble again.
She's cleaning up the
Casually
room.
comes in,
She
tries to get
grabs the
Lecter.
Lecter. Bond says, "Oh no, leave that."
Yeah, leave that.
And Tatiana recognizes her,
Yeah.
and she gives her the old.
But Klebb's got the drop on Connery. He's on the phone. He turns around, and suddenly there's Rosa Klebb with a gun on him.
And then he knocks the gun out, and then the dagger shoe opens up.
Well, she's got a poison dagger in her shoe, so she slaps her heels together. And unlike Dorothy, she doesn't go over the rainbow. This poison dagger comes out the front, so she's trying to stab Connery with it. And again, it's a great iconic James Bond gadget. This shoe with the dagger in it.
Well, and we didn't mention, but there's an earlier scene where the dagger shoe is used on Klotstein, right?
That's right, yeah, because he's failed in his mission.
He's failed in his mission.
Yeah.
And
so he gets this dagger
what's
in the heel.
What's the leader of Spectre?
Blofeld.
Who is played by? Do you know who he's played by? This is
Professor Dent from Doctor No, yeah.
Professor Dent, which I was reading. But so he gets the poison dagger to the leg, and he takes him 12 seconds to kill the guy.
Yeah,
and
they need to perfect their poison. It's not quick enough.
we got to speed that up a little bit. Yeah, so that's fantastic. So yeah, I forgot about the Klebb scene. That ends, and then the roll credits. Fiend, as the French would say.
Bond wins again.
Bond lives another day.
Lives to die another day.
There you go. So that is it. I have a few little odds and ends I want to throw out there real quick. You can comment as you go. I mentioned earlier that Tatiana and the two gypsy women were all beauty contestants.
That's right.
The scene that I was looking forward to in the fight scene, but didn't happen in the train. In the book, the cigarette case plays a key.
It stops a bullet, doesn't it?
It stops a bullet. And I was looking forward to that scene in the movie, and it didn't happen because we talked about it in one of our history episodes, how important his cigarette case is. But the film was still good. I just was looking forward to that scene. Um, the one thing, sad note that I when I found out, I was a little saddened by this. So the guy who plays Karen Bay, you may
Oh
know
yeah,
the
very
story.
tragic story about him. Pedro Armendariz. I can't pronounce his surname. Pedro Armendariz.
Armand Armendariz.
That's the one.
If you want to tell the story, you can go right ahead. I'll fill in any blanks, but I wrote it down.
Well, he plays the Istanbul section chief, British intelligence section chief, who helps Bond when he goes out there trying to get this Lecter machine. And the actor who played him, yeah, he found out as they were filming the movie that he had, I think he had terminal cancer
Terminal
at some
cancer.
point. So they brought his scenes forward and managed to. You can see in some of the scenes that he's in, he's obviously not very comfortable. He's obviously in some sort of pain.
Mhm.
But yeah, he finished his scenes. He flew to LA for treatment, and he committed suicide. He shot himself.
Shot himself in the hospital.
Yeah, in the hospital. That's it. That's
That bummed me out, you
mm.
know. But
Very sad, very brave man, and he plays a great character in From Russia with Love. And you'll see Kerim
yeah,
Bay, the helpful, slightly older mentor figure to James Bond, repeated in several Bond movies along the years. There's Columbo in For Your Eyes Only. There's another character in Die Another Day. They're all very sort of Kerim Bay
kind of
sort
a
of characters.
yeah, because he was a great character
Yeah,
in the book and in the movie. He was a great character.
mm.
So I thought that was interesting and
Yeah.
sad.
Tragic story about him, definitely.
What else did I got? Is I learned that the helicopter chase scene at the end. Mark, you remember this, where
Yeah,
the
of course.
truck is driving down and the guy's throwing grenades at him.
That's it.
That was inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest.
North by. Oh, is that right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so I can't remember the details, but I know it had
And
something
that's
to do with
Cary
that.
Grant being chased down by an airplane,
Yeah,
isn't it? In
Cary
the
Grant,
fields.
who they wanted for an original Bond.
Cary Grant, yeah.
Cary Grant. So that's a little tie in there. An interesting helicopter story also is I learned while scouting the boat chase scene at the end. I don't know if you knew this. The
Did it
director,
crash or something?
he goes up in the chopper, it crashes into the bay.
Yeah, the director. That's it.
He gets out and films the scene.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
in the movie, isn't it? I think.
the chopper crashes and the guy's like, "Get me out of here." They get him
Mm,
out and he's like, "Get me behind the camera."
mm.
I mean, they do not make them like that anymore.
Yeah.
And then that's something I found out that Tatiana, on the way to filming one day, she was in a car crash.
Yeah, she got bruised. Her face was bruised or something. That's right.
Connery
The,
was
dr- the
behind her.
driver, the driver fell asleep at the wheel. Apparently.
Yeah, it was an early call. Driver
Mm.
falls asleep when Connery's in the car behind, and he actually pulled her out of the car, out of the
Oh,
safety.
did he? I didn't know
That's the notes I got. So let me go here, Mark. Let me find here. We won't go another episode. We'll just make this one a little long. Let me find my little notes I want to just bring up while we're talking. Um, one thing I saw, and I tried to find this clip, I could not find it. But Robert Shaw was on a late night TV show over here, The Tonight Show,
that. Yeah.
and during the interview, he explained that he had to stand on a wooden crate during his scenes with Connery because he was 4 inches
Oh,
shorter
was he
than Connery.
shorter? Okay.
Yeah, and that Steven Spielberg was such a huge Bond fan that that's how he got Robert Shaw for Quint in Jaws.
Well, he watched From Russia with Love. That makes
He
sense.
was a big fan of. So let me just run through some trivia here. You can chime in as you feel need be. This, as we've stated before, Connery claims that this is his personal favorite of his
Yeah.
Bond movies.
When I looked on Rotten Tomatoes when we were talking about this before, it's got a 97% approval rating. People like From Russia with Love. It's got everything. It's a sensible plot. It's very stylish. It's very well done. Like I said,
Yeah.
with Goldfinger and subsequent movies, Bond starts to get a little bit ridiculous. But From Russia with Love is a pretty straightforward action.
Yeah,
adventure.
I've got it here. I've got Rotten Tomatoes pulled up. It's 97% with the critics, 84 with the audience, and the
That's right.
audience has over 50,000 ratings.
Yeah.
Still sitting at 84.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Pretty darn cool. I mean, that's a great place. If you look at the if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, you can look at the critics' responses. There's only two people that are rotten. Everyone else has it as fresh.
And can we
So,
just explain, how do you say tomato?
Rotten Tomatoes, tomato.
Rotten tomatoes.
You say
Tomato.
tomato, I say
I say
tomato.
tomato. Yeah, all right. I
That's
just
the old
noticed that.
classic. Yeah, the thing is, you're probably saying it correctly because
Tomato.
our language is called English, comes from
Tomato.
you, so
Mm.
comes from your motherland. Tomato.
Tomatoes. Anyway, yeah, go
Another
on, carry
thing,
on.
speaking of foods, as we Mark and I discussed off camera, I have a love for British baking shows. Teresa always says we go out to order. I say a baked potato. She says a jacket potato.
But either. I
I
tend
don't.
to say baked potato, but
When
jacket
she says
potato works.
jacket, I'm like, what are you saying? She's like, it's
Yeah.
called a jacket potato because
Yeah,
Teresa,
yeah, you can do that.
my bride's mother, is from England. So, other little facts here: director Terrence Young disliked Daniela's legs and used a stand-in for the scene where Bond
Oh, with the
spies on the Russian
periscope.
embassy. Yeah.
Mm.
The knife shoe used by Rosa Klebb was an actual weapon used by the KGB.
Yeah, apparently so.
This was the final James Bond movie released during Fleming's lifetime. He died 1 month before Goldfinger was released in the UK,
That's right. Yeah, we
which I
covered
think
that.
you've mentioned before.
The August of the following year, 64.
Yes, this movie broke box office records and was responsible for launching Sean Connery as a major star.
Yeah.
Rather than Dr. No, this movie is the one that launched him. Let's see. It says here, I think you stated earlier, Sean Connery was outfitted for this movie with 8 specially tailored
8 suits at $2,000 a suit. Oh,
2000.
that's yeah.
It was, would you consider a Seville
Savile Row,
Savile
proper
Row?
custom-made bespoke suits. They're
So
very
is
expensive.
Savile Row, is that a like the
It's a very
trendy
well-known part of London where
fashion?
they make suits, tailoring, all that sort of thing.
Okay. We've talked about Kennedy liking this movie. We've talked
Apparently,
about.
last film we ever saw, before we
Mhm.
went to Dallas.
I'm looking just real quick at some facts. So this, I don't know if you knew this. I'd seen this after the fact in a documentary. But the moves in Kronstein's chess game are from the game between Boris Spassky and David Bronstein in the
That was an actual game,
USSR.
wasn't it? That's right.
Yeah, they just replicated the moves from
Mm.
1960.
Mm.
Now here's the one you want, if you want to talk about this. The scene, the bedroom scene with James Bond and Tatiana.
Yeah.
First meet in the hotel suite is has since been used
It's
as an
become
audition.
apparently one of the main audition pieces that any actor that's up for the role of Bond usually has to play a scene with a woman in the hotel room as they play out in From Russia with Love. That's the way they test the actors to see how they look, see how they handle it. Because it's such an iconic, it's become such an iconic scene.
Well, and they say in this little factoid sheet that I'm reading off of here, it says that you can actually there's a making of documentary for other Bond movies, including Octopussy. You can see a scene, an audition.
I've seen your American guy James Brolin do that scene as an audition for Octopussy. Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because he was up for the part, but that's another story. But yeah, they tend to play that scene that Connery plays with Tatiana as an audition piece if people are going for the role.
See, it says here also, although he had his reservations about the choice of Sir Sean Connery for the part of James Bond, after seeing him in this movie, Fleming was completely won over by the actor.
That's right.
And in fact, as a result, Fleming added a Scottish ancestry to Bond's character in the later novels.
Because Connery really, I mean, Doctor No's the first film; they're finding their way. But Connery made the role his own with From Russia with Love.
Yeah, and we've touched on that in our history episodes. Let's see. This movie marks the last appearance of Sylvia Trench, which we talked about. I think here it is. The brutal fight in the train compartment between James Bond and Donald Red Grant lasts only a few minutes on screen, but took 3 weeks to film, and most of it was performed by the actors.
It's a great scene. It's really, I mean, he's really got him Bond's in real trouble. Somehow he uses that case to distract him, and then they start to have this big fight, and it's
Yeah.
just a great scene. It's a great scene.
Now, did you know this little factoid that at the filming of the railway station, over 3,500 people flocked to the rail station in Istanbul to watch the filming, which caused delays in the shooting. And director Terrence Young had stuntman Peter Perkins create a distraction by hanging upside down from a balcony at a nearby hotel to get
Sounds
people to
sense-
leave.
Sounds sensible.
Um, let's see. You talk of Vladek Shabel. I'm no, I'm
The
butchering
guy
the
that
guy.
played Kronstin, yeah,
He's a
his
highly
face, his face and his voice. The guy the chess master, the guy that comes up with the plan
yes.
to trap one. He's a character actor. He's appeared in lots of TV shows and stuff of it. I remember him as the Doctor in UFO, this science fiction show.
Well,
If you
it
just look
says
at his face and listen to his voice, he's a great. Yeah, he's a proper Bond villain.
yeah. It says he's a highly regarded Polish actor.
That's right.
And he was hesitant to accept the role in a Bond movie because he thought it might not be good for his career.
No,
But
maybe
Connery persuaded him to sign on, and they said it helped his career enormously.
No, I remember him from TV roles and movies when I was growing up. He's got a very distinctive voice as well.
Yes, I agree. 21-year-old Daniela Bianchi was the youngest actress to play a Bond girl, a leading Bond girl, I should say. In this movie, James Bond does not say the classic Bond, James Bond.
Well, that's right. He doesn't announce himself.
Despite the fact that he does say it in the book, which this movie was based on. Trying to think of last things here. It says the headquarters of the criminal spy organization Spectre in this movie is actually the main office administration building of Pinewood Studios.
Let's try and remember. Special Executive Counterterrorism, Revenge and Extortion.
Yeah,
it's a great acronym. I love it.
I put it up in one of the history episodes. And you'd mentioned this earlier. The collapsing rifle given to Bond isn't a gimmick, but was
it's a real gun, yeah.
Armalite AR-7 survival rifle,
yeah.
Which was
I think
production.
It floats. Apparently, it's one of the few weapons in the world. It's a proper sniper's rifle that does fold up into its own stock. You can carry it in a briefcase. And I think it floats or something. It's a proper sniper's rifle.
It says, according to the notes I have here, as of 2015, it is still in production by the Henry Repeating Firearms Company. Yeah. And it's one of the very few firearms that will float when dropped into water.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And talking of firearms, Bond guns, the one story about From Russia with Love that always has made me laugh. If you look at the pictures, the movie poster, the pictures of Connery, and he's holding the gun. He's got a gun which has got a very long barrel, and he's doing the classic sort of Bond pose. That's the movie picture. Apparently, when they were taking the pictures to do the movie poster and all the publicity shots, they couldn't find a Walther PPK, the gun that he normally uses. So the photographer used, I think, his own gun or some gun that they had nearby. I don't know. But it was a Walther, but it was actually an air pistol. It wasn't a proper gun. I think it was called a Walther LP-57 or something. But when you see it, the pictures of Connery holding it, he's not holding a real gun. It's an air pistol. I always thought that was quite amusing.
Interesting.
I quite like that story.
You had mentioned when we talked about the love scene that was filmed. It says here the love scene between Sir Sean Connery and Daniela caused censorship problems in Britain. In the scene, a sweating Spectre cameraman films James Bond and Tatiana in bed from a cabinet de voyeur. The British Board of
double mirror, right?
Yeah, the British Board of Film Censors mandated to producers Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman that the voyeurism in the scene was too explicit and to keep the footage of the cameraman as minimal as possible or face risking having the whole sequence censored. So
it is very fruity scene. It's very sexually charged, and it's clearly obvious what goes on.
It says here also that Robert Shaw introduced Sean Connery to the game of golf while filming this movie.
And 13 years later, 1976, From Russia with Love is 63. So 13 years later, Connery does this. It's a movie called Robin and Marion, and he's an aging Robin Hood, and Audrey Hepburn plays Maid Marian, and he comes back, and they're old, they're older characters, and Robert Shaw plays the Sheriff of Nottingham, and they have
Oh,
this
you're
big.
kidding me.
Yeah, no, you should look it up. It's a great film. Robin and Marion, it's called. And yeah, 13 years later, Connery and Shaw have another big fight as Robin Hood and the Sheriff. It's a good film.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, look it up. Robin and Marion, it's called.
It says here that this was the first Bond movie to end with the declaration, quote, James Bond will return.
Bond will be back. Yeah.
And of course, Goldfinger.
Because they're with the budget from Dr. No was doubled. From Russia with Love was a massive hit, and they're off and running. And they started work on Goldfinger, and that's when it all really took off. Bomb Mania went bananas in '64.
Yeah, and it says it continued on until 1983. The Octopussy was the last time they used that, according to this.
Use what?
The James Bond will return.
Oh, okay.
You said apparently it stopped at the Octopussy, but I don't. Again, I don't know because I'm way behind. Let's see here. I'm looking just quickly. Oh, this touches on what I was when I showed the one scene of him with the gadget checking his phone. The gadget that Bond uses to check his hotel phone.
Is it something to do with paint or something? I can't remember.
Well, it says here for bugs is actually a device called an alchemimeter.
Okay.
It is used to check the thickness in thousandths of an inch on surface coatings, usually paint, on various surfaces. The needle moves sharply across the scale because though the bodies of that type of telephone were plastic, their bases were painted steel. Interesting. Look at you knowing that.
The metal. That's right. It's a proper gadget.
Trying to surprise you with something.
Oh, you pick it up over the years. I've never seen From Russia with Love on the big screen, but as a boy, it was always on the TV. I've grown up watching it on the telly countless times.
This says here also the video game From Russia with Love, which came out in 2005.
Oh, Connery voiced it, didn't he?
Yeah, he was released 42 years after the film. Sean Connery's likeness and voice is Connery's last performance as James Bond.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, apparently he's always said that it was From Russia with Love was his favorite Bond movie. It wasn't too silly. Had some great action in it. Great characters. It's a good film. Did you enjoy it? You liked it?
I did. And I'll end it with this: is that Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig both named this as their favorite Bond movie.
People love this film. It's a good movie.
There's plenty of facts we could go on and on. I will not. This episode has gone on long enough. But yes, fun movie. I'm really enjoying this. I hope anybody that's watching or listening is enjoying the adventure, and hopefully you're watching along with us. The next one will be Goldfinger. So if you're
in for a treat, Goldfinger's a great Bond film.
We'll get that watched, and we'll be back here again talking about it in time. So I'll say goodbye to everybody now. Keep bonding to my friend Mark.
Good night, Nashville. Good night, everyone. Good night, world.
This has been a Touch of Madness production, brought to you by the creative minds at Tommy Twins Media.